Well, in-stream flow numbers are an attempt to provide good habitat for fish, and we focus on times and life stages and species that are particularly limited by flows. So flows either limit habitat or limit access to habitat. And so much of what we do is to try to figure out what each fish species and life stage needs at each season, and which of those are most limiting to the species and life stage of interest. So it's a long process of doing that analysis. Obviously, stream flows vary, and in-stream flows do not make those flows happen, but they put a they limit the degree to which human activities reduce the flows, and that's really it. So it's a very limited effect that those have, as opposed to something that, it sounds rather sweeping, setting in stream flows, but nature still provides the water or doesn't provide the water, and it's a matter of how much of the water that nature provides do people take out. So droughts will still happen, floods will still happen. It's just that if you're having a drought, it can constrain the amount to which we make that drought worse. If the flows are too low at the time the adult fish are trying to go upstream to find a place to spawn, and they can't get there, then they may spawn less effectively, and that the eggs will all be crowded in the same area. Some of them will be dug out by other ones coming because they can't get any farther upstream. They can't spread out. And then when the young hatch, there is the question of, will they be crowded together again? So if you snorkel through these pools and riffles, you'll see a moderate number of fish in each pool, typically at the head of a pool where there's food coming down to them. Well, if you put too many fish in there, you'll exceed the ability of the stream to provide them food. They won't grow, and they'll, if they haven't grown, there's gradual mortality, and it's not something where you go out and you see, oh, there's dead fish all over. What you see instead is just, well, they're not getting much bigger, and gradually there's fewer and fewer. So it's a matter of living space and quality of that living space. Another concern that we have, if fish spawn when, and this is particularly for fall spawning fish such as most of the salmon, if they spawn when the flows are very low, then that means they're spawning and they spawn in the faster flowing areas. So in the riffles where there's lots of gravel and current, but it tends to be shallow. And it tends to be towards the middle. The water's only flowing in the middle of the channel during the lowest flows. If that's where they put their eggs, Those eggs then have to stay right in that spot for months, because a fish that spawns in September or October, its eggs stayed there until January, February, March, depending somewhat on the temperatures. Well, we all know that no matter how dry it may be in the summertime here, it can be very wet in November, December, January, and February, and it tends to come in a bunch. So if you get especially if you get a warm rain on snow, and you get a big gully washer, that will not only fill that channel, it will also tend to move some of that gravel. It will actually wash out some of the eggs, kill off large numbers of eggs, and the more that they have had to be concentrated in the center of the channel because of low flows during spawning time, the greater risk of losing those to a flood scour in the incubation months during the winter time. Under the Endangered Species Act, the Federal Endangered Species Act, steelhead are listed, Chinook salmon are listed, summer chum salmon are listed, and bull trout are listed. So, and all of these are listed in the Dungeness.